Hello, my name is Shiori. Now that we have discussed simple conversation methods, let's talk about honorifics. When you hear the term Japanese honorific, you may think it's a little difficult, but we'll explain it in a simple way so you can learn it by all means. Even if you can't use exact Japanese honorifics, the Japanese will understand that a foreigner is trying to use honorifics and will be very kind to you. In Japan, it is very important to be able to speak honorific language. Beautiful honorifics can lead to a reputation for character, especially as a nice person. Using honorific language shows that you respect the other person. Salutation is not only used for superiors, it is also used by teachers for students and by the president for employees. Even lovers will speak in honorific language for a while. The hard part is the formal use of honorifics. It's not enough to include a lot of honorifics in a conversation. If you use too many honorifics in a conversation, you will be perceived as someone who doesn't know how to use them. In modern Japan, this honorific language is slowly disappearing. The number of young people who can use correct honorifics is decreasing. Keigo is necessary in Japan because it is a language of consideration. But it's hard to remember, so I'll explain the all-around useful keigo that can be used by foreigners. That would be desu. There are others, such as gozaimashita, but the timing of its use can be complicated, so we'll just use desu. Put this desu at the end of the word. Thank you becomes arigato in Japanese. The correct honorific would be arigato gozaimashita, but it's a hassle, so desu is fine. Arigato desu is also a way of speaking that is respectful enough to the other party. Other. The word delicious is oishi, but in honorific form it is oishi desu. Happy is reshi, but the honorific is reshi desu. Tired is tsukurita, but in honorific form it is tsukurita desu. The word itself has become an honorific. Hello is konnichiwa in Japanese. You don't need an honorific for this word, but if you're confused about the honorific, you can say konnichiwa desu. The same goes for good morning and good evening. Thus, by adding desu at the end of most Japanese sentences, it replaces the honorific term. In case you don't use desu correctly, there's no need to be embarrassed because it's a beautiful honorific term. I think the Japanese are especially impressed with the use of desu by foreigners who are not good at Japanese. The next time you want to ask something, add ka to desu to make it desuka. For example, does it taste good? The oishi desuka? How much is this one? Ikura desuka? This is the honorific to use when you want to ask a question. On a side note, I would like to tell those who come to Japan from Asian countries. Many people who come to Japan from Asian countries have this question word wrong. The Japanese language of people from Asian countries is delicious, oishi ka? How much is this one? Ikura ka? Saying only ka without is when asking a question is the exact opposite of polite speech. It's a dirty word that will offend the Japanese people. Nothing good will come from using this word in Japan, so let's fix it. The next step is to call them by their names. In other countries, we use Mr. or Miss to call people by their names. In Japan, san is used regardless of gender. For example, Mr. Suzuki and Miss Suzuki are both Suzuki-san. Since Japanese people are not used to the words Mr., Miss and Mrs., it is more popular to use san in Japan. Regarding this honorific, if you are coming to Japan on a sightseeing trip, you don't need to think about honorifics. If a Japanese goes to a foreign country, he doesn't speak English, let alone honorific language. But if you have a fondness for a country and want to get to know it better, you will learn its language and manners. The honorifics described here were created for people who have a fondness for Japan and want to know more about it. If you want to live in Japan or come to Japan on business, you must learn the honorific language. I can assure you that if you can speak keigo to a certain extent, you will be a virtue in Japanese life. The more you speak the honorific language, the more you will be liked by the Japanese people, without a doubt. Thank you for watching.